Hey guys, welcome back to Trek on the Tube. It's time for another Star Trek review and Easter eggs video. Today we're talking about Star Trek Picard Season 1, Episode 4, Absolute Candor. Here we go. This episode, from what I've seen online, has been pretty divisive. I mean, I've seen people say it's the final nail in the coffin. This is the episode that made them stop watching the show. But then there's people like me that think it's the best episode so far. Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, the show doesn't feel very Star Trek. I can't exactly pinpoint why, though I can do my best to try and find an explanation. One thing I can tell you for certain is it's not because of the violence or conspiracy plot, because let's face it, those elements have always been present in the franchise. I think it really comes down to the lack of corniness. Yeah. I mean, Star Trek has always been kind of corny. That's not a bad thing, mind you. It's actually part of the universe's charm. But before, it was always present, and now it's not, so it can be a little off-putting. What I mean is, for example, people used to take a few steps to the side and then stand still before beaming away. Here, they just casually walk around or continue whatever it is that they're doing while they're being beamed. The phasers used to have this old-school ray gun quality to them. Now it's just Star Wars blasters. The fight scenes used to have these very Star Trek specific moves that, yes, at times created some awkward looking moments. And everyone was always well spoken, even the scum of the galaxy. All of that is now gone. Now is that a bad thing? I don't know. On a surface level, if you take away unrealistic elements and replace them with actions or technology that better represent real life, you should have a better show. But you have to be careful, and not take away too much from the identity of the universe. Superman puts on his glasses and he becomes Clark Kent. It's corny, or even straight up dumb. It's not realistic, but it doesn't matter, because that's part of the Superman story. When he wears his glasses, people no longer see Superman. Here with Star Trek, it's the same thing. Anyway, we'll probably circle back to all of this once the season is over. At this moment in time, we're talking about one specific episode and why it's my favorite so far. Ironically, I have no big explanation about why this episode worked so well for me, like when I talk about the episodes that I don't like, but that's just how it is, you know. I got a few bullet points, so let me throw them at you. The episode was beautifully written. It moved the overall story along, had its own little self-contained backstory and payoff, and also featured some intelligent dialogue, some deep dialogue. It also ended with an exciting cliffhanger that didn't undercut the story itself or make it feel incomplete. The performances were fantastic. So Patrick Stewart moved Picard as a character closer to how we knew him to be in The Next Generation. Evan Evagora did a great job presenting Elnor to us. And the two guest actors we got, Evan Park and Amira Van, respectively playing the ex-senator and the lead warrior nun, were amazing. Both of them deserve a short treks further developing their past. And shout out to Santiago Cabrera, who's doing a wonderful job with all of these different holographic versions of himself, the different accents, the different personalities. I'm loving that. The sets were spectacular, as were the props and the costumes. Visually, it's all stunning. From the town that, funny enough, felt very The Next Generation, to the retreat where the nuns live, to the robes that the nuns in Elnor are wearing, it really is all high quality. It was well directed and well lit. Maybe the lens flares and brightness were a bit too intense in the moments where Picard was talking with the nuns, but it didn't bother me too much because it all added to the mood of the place. I'm still not convinced about the Narek and Soji relationship, and frankly, I don't care about what's going on that woe ship, but we'll see where the plotline takes us, and I suppose I'll reserve judgment for once it's over. Side note, Narissa is a very strange character, and the incest vibes I'm getting from her are very unsettling. I don't know if this is because it's Star Trek specifically, or if it's just because I don't like this kind of thing, but if the idea is to repulse or alienate, then it's very well done because it's working. And there you go. There's not much more to say. Elnor decapitates someone. It is a bit extreme, but Star Trek has already done extreme in the past, so it's not out of place. And Picard really does take the time to make a point about not doing it again, so in the end, it kind of balances itself out. As you can see, and as I said earlier, I truly do have a lot less things to say when an episode is truly good. I'm sorry, but yeah. It's not that I don't want to elaborate, it's simply that I don't need to. If a certain piece of technology is out of place, then I have to justify, or give examples about it not being out of place. If a performance is moving, then it's moving and there's not much more I can say about it. But I'll tell you what, just to spend a little more time on the good, I'll end with this. The first time I watched the episode, I got very emotional in the beginning. Like, I almost teared up. Seeing Picard with young Elnor was an intense moment. It was heartwarming to see him teach the kid how to fence, to see them read The Three Musketeers together, but it was also heartbreaking because, as we all know, Picard has no children of his own, and Rene died. Rene, his nephew. So, yeah, the Picard lineage will end with Jean-Luc. Picard would have made a great father. He did actually make a great father in that second life that he lived in the Inner Light episode. Anyway, I'm not saying that everyone needs to have kids or should have kids. Absolutely not. It's a personal choice, and you know, everyone does what they want. I just think that Captain Picard, Jean-Luc Picard as a character, he would have gained a lot from having a kid, and I think that it's one of his deep regrets that we've seen unfold. So yeah, that scene was moving for me. Okay, I loved the episode. I didn't mind the fact that it didn't feel exactly like Star Trek so much this time around, mostly because we're no longer interacting with Starfleet or the Federation or any officials. I mean, I think that for the first time ever, this is an episode of Star Trek where not a single person wears a Starfleet uniform. In any case, now that the gang is out doing stuff, you know, on their own in space, the relaxed, kind of more nonchalant vibe, I think fits better with the show. It was a great episode. Alright. Easter eggs and references. And as usual with Picard, there's a lot. The show is built on Easter eggs. Not in a bad way though. It's all world building, which is fun. Alright, so Sir Patrick Stewart acts a little more like the Picard that we knew from The Next Generation in this episode, and that comes with the familiar catchphrase, "Come," that he throws at people when he's in his ready room or his quarters and he wants them to come in.
Come. 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 Come.
Now, I don't know if this even counts as an Easter egg or a reference, but I just wanted to mention it. At one point, Picard sits behind his desk and watches his shipmates argue, which seems very reminiscent of what he did in The Next Generation. Zani, the leader of the warrior nuns, says something reminiscent of The Next Generation as well. When describing Picard, she mentions he really doesn't like kids, and this is something that he's admitted himself on multiple occasions. As we mentioned just a few seconds ago, Picard teaches Elnor fencing. He's been doing this since forever. Then they read The Three Musketeers together. We've already seen a holoprogram of the novel in The Next Generation. It was used by Barclay, and Captain Archer's dog, Porthos, is named after one of the characters. Picard and Elnor, while talking about Data, mention his cat, Spot. Speaking of Data, Soji at one point does the classic Data head tilt. Picard keeps on saying Jolan True when he's on the planet's surface, which is a Romulan greeting first heard in The Next Generation two-parter Unification. The planet they go to is called Vashti. It might not be a direct reference to the love interest Picard once had called Vash, but Vash is so unique a name. The fact that we're only 4 episodes into Picard and that we've already seen Planet Vashti and the Romulan Zat Vash makes me feel like, I don't know, the writers are taunting us or something. Anyway, this guy used to be a Romulan senator. We've seen plenty of those in other iterations of Star Trek. This is Romulan ale. Like I said in my last video, it's become such a common thing to see that we could almost make a drinking game out of it. Rios has Klingon Opera holoprograms. Klingon Opera has been a thing ever since Worf came into the franchise. This is an original series Romulan bird of prey, though arguably more detailed, so maybe it's from a few years after, like the movie era. In any case, the show simply calls it an antique design, so you can place it whenever you want in the timeline. Anyway, let's move on to the final and biggest Easter egg of all, 7 of 9. The beloved Voyager character makes her return to screen at the end of the episode, and everything about her arrival was just perfect. Alright, there you go, that's it. That was my review. Those are the Easter eggs and references. What do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys think of the show so far? Thank you so much for watching. You're amazing people. Remember to like, subscribe, you can share with your friends, you can support this channel on Patreon, and as usual, live long and prosper.